Buff Nation, what is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful evening. We got a lot of great news to talk about. We got a crystal ball, Byron Baldwin, another one coming in for the safety class of 2025. That's great. We got great news about Isaiah Augustave, the running game. Thought Coach Prime had a great presser. We can talk too about Shilo's presser, taking accountability, and I'm down. I'm down for the Shilo redemption game, no doubt about it. So we got a lot to go through. Again, guys, thank you so much for the engagement, for the support. Everybody who's finding the channel, this is a ton of fun. Before we get started, I got a really fun announcement that I need to make officially. You probably see here on the top right-hand corner, got the little College Huddle logo. What is that? Well, I have joined the College Huddle podcast network. Really, it's just a place where you can go and find other great college football podcasts from teams all over the place. So throughout the whole country. So you can see here, if you go to, man, that's funny. You can see they found my shirt I ordered. If you go here to the Big 12 and you want to find a podcast, you can click on like Saturday's Warrior, which is awesome. I had Saturday's Warrior on last summer, and he's also with them, Trevor. And then if you just want to find, hey, who's doing Colorado? David Talks Buffs is. So I'm just the guy on here. It's going to allow me to hopefully get a little bit more exposure to the channel, and also just have, other contacts available for like collaborations, just like with what I did with Cocaine Willie in KSU last week. So you guys be sure to check out the website, go see all the different college shows they have. I think they have close to 80 schools now represented. So isn't that kind of fun? I mean, I think it's pretty cool. So y'all be sure to check out College Huddle. Shirley, I knew you were going to be the first one to say hello. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Let's go ahead and get to the fun news, shall we? So you can see right here, Chad Simmons from On3 has logged an expert prediction today for Colorado to land 4-star safety Byron Baldwin. He decommitted from Coach Sig in Indiana earlier this month, and I love this. Confidence level 60%. This is wonderful to see. Very talented safety. If you might be thinking, Dave, haven't you talked about a crystal ball for Byron Baldwin before? You are correct. Just a few weeks ago, Adam Munster Tiger, who is 3 for 3 on the year. Okay? 3 for 3 on the year. He notched a 60% crystal ball for Byron Baldwin to flip over here to CU. So you got to imagine it's coming here at some point. Again, 6'1.5", height, 190 pounds, safety, 4-star guy. He's 91 in the composite, 90 by 24/7. Very, very good player. And when he officially commits, we'll have a party for him. But I imagine that this is going to happen. We'll go through his tape later on when that does happen. But, big wingspan, long, lanky, versatile, experience with both safety and corner. So, he can cover, he can tackle. And again, a 4-star guy that, had interest from all over. SEC interest when you look at Florida, Kentucky. Again, Indiana seems to be building something pretty special over there with their defense. Penn State, Tennessee, UCLA, Wisconsin, West Virginia. Who else we got that's kind of interesting? James Madison, one of the best G5 programs. So Pitt, who's off to a really good start this year. A lot of schools have been wanting to get this safety, and it's crazy. Top 20 safety in the class, you can see, number 19. From the composite, this would be massive for Colorado's recruiting class. Again, we got Antonio Branch, who also committed here recently. So him, as well as Byron Baldwin, could be the safety group of the future, which is always exciting. Of course, Alex Graham is another really talented DB that we have coming here. So we got 8 hard commits. Let's continue to see this increase throughout the season. If we can get between 15 and 20 really high caliber guys, I would be ecstatic about that. Wouldn't you? I would. So I love the fact that we see another crystal ball here for Byron Baldwin Jr., another dynamic safety. Again, if there's one group that I feel very, very good about with um, with us just always being able to recruit well, it is the defensive backfield. No doubt about it. All right, let's get to the big piece of news here, though, and that is AI, man. Dante's coming in here saying this. AI is by far the best back. It's not even a debate. Let's go ahead and pull up the stats because Coach Prime did say today that, hey, we are going to give Isaiah Augustave. Look, to me, it kind of seemed like he insinuated that he's going to start. So I don't know if he came out and said it like that, but to me, it really makes me feel like he's going to get the run. And I think, again, looking back at last week's game, just down Hayden wasn't hitting those holes. And I think it's good to see that, this staff is making appropriate adjustments. Maybe it's not always when we want to see, something like that happen, right? Like when Charlie Offerdahl was getting a lot of carries to start the year. But yeah, like it's nice to see at least this adjustment made. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of the grades. Marlon, hi, like how you explain Big 12 today. Thank you very much. Or Biz 12. You're welcome. I'm not totally sure what you mean. I'm sorry. Let me know if you need anything else. But and if you guys have questions, what's up, Titan? Hope you're doing well. Let's look at Isaiah Augustave here. Yards per attempt. Ryan Staub, Shedeur, they don't count. We're looking at the running backs. So Micah Welsh is still at 4.9 yards per attempt. Right there at 4.7. Right behind him is Isaiah Augustave. He's had 33, or he's had 4 more carries, rather. That's what we should look at. 4 more carries. And yeah, they've both run for over 100 yards on the year. Drelon Miller's at 3.7. Dallin Hayden's here at 3 yards per carry with 32 attempts, leading the team in attempts, lowest out of all the running backs right now on yards per attempt. And so I think that this is something that should be done. Isaiah Augustave, and if Micah Welsh is good to go from the ankle injury, that's something that we found out today, as Coach Prime said that he was dealing with a little bit of an ankle sprain. I believe he was talking about Michael Welsh. It's nice to see Colorado making the appropriate adjustments to put their most productive players in the game, especially at the running back position. Isaiah Augustave and Michael Welsh, in my opinion, have earned the majority of the carries. In my opinion, I would like to see that. Now, Dallin Hayden's also had his moments, right? But they haven't been as frequent right now as Michael Welsh and Isaiah, even on more carries. So that is something to take a look at. Michael Welsh, Isaiah, both of these guys have been very productive. When we want to look at runs over 10 yards, Michael Welsh has 6. Isaiah Augustave has 2. Dallin Hayden has 2 as well. Let's see if there's anything else that's interesting here. Breakaway runs 3 to 2, that's over 15. And then receiving, Dallin Hayden has been helpful in the receiving game. 6 for 6 for 60 yards. That's awesome. Isaiah Augustave 3 for 3 for 15 yards. And Michael Welsh 5 for 6 for 21 yards. Everybody seemed to have shown pretty good hands in the receiving game, but this is what might be keeping Dallin Hayden maybe a little bit more on the field than people would like to see, because we have seen Isaiah and Micah be a little bit more productive on the ground. Is just still, when it comes to the pass blocking, again, take this for a grain, with a grain of salt, but looks like Dallin Hayden is still grading out a little bit higher pass blocking than where Isaiah and Micah are doing it. My only, I guess, issue with that is I think that Micah and Isaiah can get better at that the more live game reps that they're given, right? That's what I would like to see. But of course, priority numero uno still needs to be being solid in pass protection. You can see Charlie Offord all year with the highest grade of 81.3 out of the backs. So, yeah, but I like that. I mean, heck, even when you're looking at yards per attempt, Charlie Offord is ahead of Dallin Hayden for what it's worth. So, again, coming back from a high ankle sprain, that is very hard to do. You do kind of lose some of your quickness and your explosion. You really see this with running backs. I remember when this happened with Austin Eckler a few years ago because he was on my fantasy team coming back from a high ankle sprain. Dude just didn't look right afterwards, even though he was healthy and playing. Just lacked that explosion, that burst. Even if you're healthy and suiting up, that doesn't mean you're 100%. And right now, I would rather see these guys get the lion's share of the work. Until they prove otherwise that they can't do it if they're having issues in pass pro or fumbling the ball. But ultimately, CU needs to be loyal, not to Micah Welsh or Isaiah Augustave, Dallin Hayden, or I'll even throw Charlie Offord in there. I don't want them to have loyalty to any of these guys. Go and find the hot hand every single game. Now, we all got our opinions. I got my opinions on who should get those first shots, right? But if something ain't working at first for those first couple drives or so, try somebody else. Go and try and find the hot hand. See who's going to find the holes because we were missing some holes last week. We definitely were in the running game, and that's what I want us to be loyal to is just the production. And moving on to that, on another note, it's great to hear Shilo just say, man, I played the worst game of my career. I would agree with you, man. You had more missed tackles than tackles. Like that is objectively bad, but we've also seen much better play from Shilo. Would I like to see maybe a little bit more interchangeable or more even snaps between him and Carter as he's easing his way back? Yes. Don't be loyal to who the safety is. Be loyal to the production and who's playing well out there. That's what we do. That's what we do. I want to see Carr Stoutmeyer more in this game. Not going to lie. I want to see Shilo bounce back and have a redemption game, get an interception or a forced fumble, something like that. But let's not go in with the same plan that we had last game. Let's see a little bit more Carr, and that's how I feel about it. So, yeah, I'm wanting to get your guys' thoughts on this. You know, how do you feel not only about sounding like Isaiah Augustave's gonna be the first guy to get work in the running back room against Arizona? Shedeur Sanders comments, as well as the news that Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn are expecting to play on Saturday, and that gives us a huge boost, I think, morally and, of course, talent-wise or morale-wise. And talent-wise. So this was a great news day today for CU, no doubt about it. So I'll get to some of your comments, and we can get this going. Hey, Titan again. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Me and T Cal should do a live. Hey, you know, maybe at some point, I did seem to upset maybe one or two of his fans. That wasn't intentional. I knew me putting out that tweet would probably upset some people, but it is upsetting to see some of our players that we know have played good and that have been productive for us in the past. Sometimes it is just like, we just have some standards for ourselves as a fan base. Like, we're not going to say, hey, this guy needs to be benched. And it's not saying, I'd like to see the backup play more. I'd like to see the third string guy play more. I'd like to see the fourth string guy play more. No, it's like some of us, man, we always go to, let's just see the walk-on play. Forget everybody else that we brought in. Forget all the talent that we got. And at the end of the day, Charlie Offord has more tackles than some of these dudes that I've walked on. That's just that's just the truth of the matter. I don't really think there's much to talk about outside of that, and I just think that, hey, if we're going to call for somebody to play, have it be somebody that can actually, that has proven that they can go out there and do something, man. I mean, even somebody that I was critical of coming onto the team that I think has played really well in a reserve role, Herman Smith. Herman Smith has earned a lot of trust with me throughout these first 6 games. No doubt about it. Yeah, I don't know if I would say Dallin Hayden is shouldn't play again. He's pretty awful. Again, I think that he does bring some good things to the room, and I think he has been a better blocker and been more trusted to pass block. So even with the pass blocking grades, with him being a little bit higher, he's also had a lot more pass blocking snaps than Isaiah and Micah have had as well. But again, when you're coming off that ankle injury, a high ankle sprain, that isn't the easiest to come back from. You usually do lose some explosion. Granted, maybe that doesn't explain away like what I was harping on him this weekend for was just I just didn't think he had his best day vision wise. Um, that's that can be difficult, but at the end of the day, we have to be loyal to finding the hot hand, and that's what we've done with him out of the lineup between Isaiah and Micah. And let's just get back to it. Let's get back to it. Oh, G Cal responded to my tweet. Oh man, that's hilarious. We'll have to see what he says. Deals Wholesale saying Dion told everyone that his offensive system will be air raid when he took the job, folks. Did he say that? Did he say that? Um, it was pretty interesting. Locked On Buffs had a tweet today that talked about how when Colorado has 14 or more designed runs for their running backs, 4-0 this year. When we have less than that, 0-2. Pretty interesting. And when you got Shedeur at quarterback, you're going to be a pass-heavy team, like no doubt about it. You just need a little bit of balance, and everybody benefits from that. That's why I never understood like the whole daddy ball stuff. Get Shedeur his stats. Yeah, no. You've seen that he's been able to put up fantastic stats throughout this 3-game winning streak when we've just run the ball a little bit more. Everybody wins. Everybody's able to eat. You see LeJontay Wester already has 7 touchdowns. Travis Hunter with 6. All those things are great. The running backs are getting into the end zone. I think Welsh might have 3 or 4 touchdowns already. So that's really great to see. But yeah, air raid, we are going to throw the ball around quite a bit. And that's what I expected. That's what you want to see. Let's just have, somewhat of a running game to pair with that. Yeah, Jake Bake. It looks like Isaiah is starting. At least that's how I kind of took Coach Prime's comments, at least. And it seems like that's what most people are saying too. I think Adam Munster Tiger had a tweet that he would expect that to be the case. I think that was Adam Munster Tiger. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, like I think it's the right move too, especially again, all these guys have 20 plus carries. Dallin Haynes had 32 carries. You got a little bit of a sample size to see now kind of who's been the most productive right now on the ground, with all of them having somewhat even carries. So I like it. And you also say Hayden seems to look better on runs with pulling linemen. Oh, very interesting. Yeah, so if we're running just kind of more zone without those pulling linemen, that would make sense if we feel like Micah or Isaiah might be better suited for what we're trying to do in the run game right now. That's a really great point. What do they run at Ohio State? I don't even know. Hey, Andrea, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Kenyon saying Hayden is good. He just needs a line to make the way for him. He's the type of runner where he runs straight. Yes, when he played at Ohio State, his lineman did lots of pulls when he ran. So, okay, you're kind of echoing that that boy Rico, saying the same thing, where he might not be kind of that cutback type of running back, but having a guy that he can run behind, pulling, opening up a big hole. Yeah, maybe when we're trying to have a different approach with what's working well for us and blocking in the run game, maybe we have him back there. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the run blocking grades. I would find this kind of interesting. Give me 1 second. So I wonder, like, I wish they broke it down here for how many like man or zone running plays that like we've done, but I don't think they have that or like totaled up. So here in zone, you can see kind of our highest graded guys: Phillip Houston, Kareem Harden, Benson, Solinskis. Jordan Seaton's at a 61.6. All right. Mayers, 61.5. So then let's take a look at the grades in Gap. Benson, 72.6. Phillip Houston, 68.1. So both of them have higher grades in Gap than they do in zone. That kind of surprises me for Phillip Houston. Granted, a lot less in Gap, but kind of true for everybody. It looks like we're running definitely more zone than we are Gap. And Gap is when we'll have a lot of those pullers. Hank Solinskis, 61.1, so a little bit of a dip. TB, forgot to mention him, a little bit better in Gap than in zone. Kareem Harden, way better in zone than in Gap. Mayers, about a 10-point difference as well, just like Kareem Harden had. So interesting. I mean, we're not running as much Gap. When I'm just kind of comparing these totals, right? We're running a lot more zone, probably about 3/4 of the time running zone compared to Gap. So yeah, maybe Isaiah and Micah are just able to kind of take advantage of that kind of style a little bit more, right? Fair points. Really appreciate you guys bringing that up. They just need to stick with the run. They were effective enough on 3rd and 1. They got 2. Exactly. That's been one of my biggest, I think, successes from this year's line compared to last, is that we do run so much better in the short yardage. Not perfectly, but we run so much better in the short yardage this year, without a doubt. We scored a rushing TD. You're right, Kevin. You can't give only 10 carries to running backs and act like they aren't doing their job. And that's totally fair. Dallin Hayden didn't get what did he have this past game? But like overall, yeah, we had 10 total carries for our running backs, and you can argue that you didn't even give him a fair shot to get in a rhythm. So I think that's totally fair. And we just got out of sorts. We got away from our identity. We got away from what has won us games against Kansas State. Now, I think it also goes to show just how well we fought in our resilience, to where we're not playing our best ball. We got some guys hurt, and we still took the lead there at the end of the game. But yeah, if we stay, I think, a little bit more closer to what has won us games, I think we win that game. Don't you think? You want to see Brandon Hood? I don't mind it. Maybe not right now in crunch time. Let's go with our proven running backs. No doubt about it. Pat should look at those runs and put them in CU's playbook for Hayden. Yeah, just kind of running a little bit more uh, of the schemes that fit to the productivity of each running back. I think that's smart, and I'm sure they look at this stuff. Like, if I can just bring this up on PFF and we can have a little conversation about it, I believe no doubt, like they're talking about these things on Sunday, on Monday, no doubt about it. But it would be nice to see this sort of stuff tailored a little bit more towards the running back that they have in. I think that's totally fair. Jarius White's just saying, I just watched the latest well off video and yeah, Coach Shermer was heated in this morning's meeting. He got on the lineman and he's also doubling down on the run game this week for Saturday. Well, I love to hear that. I love to hear that they're pissed. Uh, in the words of Denny Green, right? What did he say? We had the game and then we let them off the hook. That's exactly what happened. There was a lot of things that we could have corrected and to get this victory. And we can't get away from the run game. We can't have Shedeur taking shots. We can't have him holding on to the ball, taking shots. Let's take some pressure off the pass game. Let's have a lead going into the first into halftime, so we don't have to just air the ball out. Don't feel that pressure to just disregard the run game, right? We just kind of got out of sorts a little bit earlier than what we needed to, in my opinion. And seems like, man, they know that. And if Coach Shurmur is heated, he feels really good about something, really convicted about something. I don't think anybody's saying we had our best performance as a team on Saturday. And yeah, sounds like Coach Shermer feels the same way. So I'm fully expecting a bounce back game this game against Saturday or against Arizona. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it. They have been able to bounce back and learn from their mistakes and adjust. Second half adjustments still were fairly decent in this game, even though they didn't lead to the win. But yeah. Yeah, let's see the Hood guy. Let's see a little bit of him. What did College Football 25 give him? Like a 90 something speed, something crazy like that. So let's see it. Less RPO zone read. It's hard to run with a quarterback that's not a threat to pull and run. Yeah. Yeah, you're getting on to kind of like one of my little pet peeves is just kind of, we run that quite a bit. It would have been nice to see us run a little bit more from out of pistol. Maybe we had like one or two runs out of pistol on Saturday, but yeah, we just didn't have the run game going. And I think there were a handful of different things that we could have changed, whether it was the type of runs we were calling or the formation or the personnel back there. Maybe we just be a little bit more quick to change things up if things seem to be kind of stagnant, during that first quarter. Bill coming in here. Doesn't matter who starts at running back. They need a running scheme that is not predictable. Whoever starts, they need 20 to 25 carries per game. Yes. Let's just be loyal to the productivity, baby. Again, I think that 20 carries for our running backs is like the magic number. Ideally, we have over that and we can have, 25 attempts to, Shedeur's 35 passing attempts, something like that. I think that's a really good ratio. Yeah, wouldn't mind seeing us go back to some pistol. We didn't really see a lot of that against Kansas State, if I remember correctly. Jerry is saying it makes me curious how fast Walter Taylor is to see if we could run any design quarterback run sets like some teams have been doing this season. I've kind of wanted the same thing, kind of out right now on Walter Taylor kind of being the QB of the future. From what I saw in the spring game, but that is just a spring game, right? You got plenty of time to get better. But if there is one thing I'm very confident in him in, and it's what we saw during his snaps that he had at Vanderbilt, is that the man can run and he can run over people for sure. So that would be interesting, kind of putting him in a goal line package, or if we have yard to gain or something like that. If we put him in, kind of a wildcat, but he's a quarterback, so that's not a true wildcat. But a bigger body, bigger run threat. I don't really love the idea of doing like the tush push stuff with Shedeur, just because he already takes so many hits. You kind of want to eliminate him, having a bunch of offensive and defensive linemen fall on top of him, right? I believe Patrick Mahomes got injured. I think he injured his ankle maybe 4 years back or so, and Andy Reid called something like that, quarterback sneak, and all these guys just fell on Mahomes. That there's just no reason to do that. So I understand why we haven't seen a ton of that with Shedeur. I do love the fact, like, sometimes when we hand it off, he's right there to help push the running back. That's kind of like an inverted brotherly shove. But Walter Taylor, you could put there right under center, and we could push him. We could push him and not have to worry about anything ridiculous happening to Shedeur. Julius Smith. Thoughts on Jordan Onovughe being the number 5 wide receiver this weekend? Quite exciting. Quite exciting. Let's see if he can get a target. Let's see if he can get on the field. He's a stockier, bigger wide receiver. So I really like that. He's got great size. Again, he's like 6'2", well over 200 pounds. He's yoked. I remember seeing him in fall camp. He almost looked as big as, like Omari Miller. So he's a big guy, real hard worker, obviously. Was, again, a little bit of a late bloomer at modern day. I don't think he started until his senior year. And that's why, like, his recruiting wasn't really popping off the charts or anything like that. But he's somebody, when you're looking at his high school tape, you're like, wow, like, this guy is an athlete. He kind of reminds you of Deebo Samuel and those types of molds, a guy that almost looks like a running back sometimes when he's got the ball in his hands downfield and he can kind of run through contact. A bigger guy, I would imagine that he's a good run blocker as well. So it would not surprise me if he did well and got a little bit of, on the stat sheet a little bit. That would be cool. But in terms of the physicals that he brings, I think they're great. In terms of the mentals, the work ethic, it just seems like the program is very, very happy with him. He's a guy that I feel like is pretty quiet when it comes to like social media and all that stuff. Like, you don't really see him talking a lot, but I think he's really about his business, kind of a lunch pail, take your lunch pail to work type of blue collar type of work ethic. So I would love to see him out there and do well. He's got the opportunity with Terrell, Timmons, and Omari Miller out, and Cordale Russell still working his way back. So I think Cordale Russell did dress on Saturday, which is awesome. But yeah, he very well could have a role, the same with Drelon Miller. So that would be really fun to see both of those guys get a little bit more action, and Cordale Russell. So wide receiver is one of those groups that I'm always going to feel great about. That and the secondary. I feel like we have recruited very, very well. We have great athletes. We have a lot of different types of wide receivers. We got DBs that can all do a little bit different things. We got some hybrid DBs that can play either safety or corner. I think most of our guys in the secondary can be depended on to cover really, really well. I love when this fan base calls for freshman walk-ons to play. Yes. Yeah, no. This is, no Hall of Fame walk-on talk here, man. No Hall of Fame walk, I'm happy for anybody that chooses to be a Buff. And again, my tweet about, just comparing Charlie Offerdahl's 3 career tackles to Ian Massey's career tackles it's not anything personal to Charlie Offerdahl or Ian Massey. I think, like, that's sometimes when people get emotionally attached to players, they can just take that as, me like shitting on these kids. No, I'm just giving you the data. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Like, come on, like, we got to be better. I know we're a crazy fan base. I know we want to see all these guys play, but To me, it's just stuff like that. It's just a joke. Like, we got plenty of other DBs. Give me more Herman Smith. Give me more RJ Johnson. Like, let's see what he can do. Um, Not really interested in guys that have been around in college football for a while that don't have productivity, and then for us to say that this guy deserves to be playing over all these other guys that have been very productive for us. I just don't think that that's fair, regardless of the name attached to it. Stanford, good to see you. Yes, please run the ball. Go Buffs. That's what we need to do. But I'll go. I'll have to check this tweet after I shut down this stream here in a little bit, but I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Julius Wise says we could play Carter at nickel, swap him with Preston out between drives. Maybe. I've still been really, really happy with Preston Haj and his cover skills in the slot. I think sometimes we have seen him get burned a couple times for touchdowns on the outside. Yeah. So I don't know. I still really like Preston Haj as our starting slot again. I don't think with what we saw against Kansas State, we need to overreact too much in terms of the pass coverage. I just think, man, Avery Johnson made some really, really good plays. He made some great throws that I wasn't expecting him to make. Like, if you're telling me, like, hey, we're going to put pressure on him and we're going to force Avery Johnson to make a throw one-on-one, like, if you're telling me that in the week leading up to the game, I would have said I would have taken that every single time with the guys that we got to cover outside. Yes. The one thing I didn't want is Avery Johnson running. And man, he proved me wrong. Eating a lot of crow, obviously with how he played, especially with the game on the line and losing the lead and then coming back and all of that. But I don't think we need to change too much. But I think, hey, if we see Shilo out there taking bad angles, or anybody else for that matter, let's have some accountability. Let's put Carter back in that instance. Maybe we'd be better off that way. But Shiloh's right, man. When you're the free safety and you're taking bad angles and you're getting beat, everybody's going to see it. Like, you always see that with safeties, man. If they get beat, everybody sees it because they're the last line of defense. And yeah, but I want to agree with this, bro. Shiloh's a me guy, not a we. I don't think so. To me, it always seems like Shiloh is well regarded on the team and liked. That's how he was at South Carolina too. So I wouldn't say that. I don't think that's a fair characterization. And I think he is one of he's got the dog tag. I believe he is that. He's a leader on this team, no doubt about it. We can have questions on his play. I think that's totally fine, but I don't think it's really fair to call out his character. I at least from what I've observed, I just haven't felt that he's a me guy. Sometimes I just feel like he's over aggressive. It's almost like, he's a son of Deion Sanders. Same with Shedeur, right? Like, what's kind of his biggest quality that can kind of it can come back to bite. It's just that he won't give up on any drop back. Right. It's like they're ultra aggressive. They're always looking for the big play. Yeah, it's almost like they come from the same DNA, right? Shilo and Shedeur. Part of that I just feel like is inherent to who they are. Whether it benefits us, which I think it does for the most part. There are some situations to where it comes about back to bite us, whether you're drifting in the pocket or taking a dumb penalty, right? Taking a bad angle. But ultimately, that's just who they are. They're just ultra competitors. They don't like to give up on any play. They want to make noise on every play. That's just part of their play style. I granted, I guess Deion Sanders was miscategorized a lot of the times as a me type of guy, not a we type of guy. So I guess like father, like son in that in that instance, right? I remember that one on Micah during the spring ball, but, hey, credit to Micah, man. I like all of our corners, but we were asking our guys to play man coverage a lot, way more than most other secondaries and being asked to around the country. That's very fair. Eventually, they are going to break. Yes. 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 You're right. You're right. It's kinda playing with fire a little bit, right? But damn, is it exciting. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see kinda what, we do to cover Tet McMillan. Fantastic wide receiver. Obviously, having Travis back really helps. Colton Hood has been good in coverage, so maybe we see more of him as well. I'm sure the coaching staff, Robert Livingston, Kevin Mathis, everybody's taken a look at what teams have done against Tet McMillan after that Northern Arizona where he scored like 4 touchdowns against, and he hasn't had a touchdown since. That's kinda interesting. He's had half of his receiving yardage about and all of his touchdowns in that first week 1. The next 5 weeks, it's been a little bit different of a story. Horrible take. Shilo hangs out with the lesser regarded player. How do we know that? How do we know? Are you just going off of like some YouTube clips of what's put on? I don't know. I don't talk to anybody on the team, so I wouldn't know. But um, I I'm just wondering how any of us know that. Yeah, Kevin. Anytime you leave a corner, one on one all game, they're going to get beat some. They have athletes too. Yep. Preston had good coverage on both of the touchdowns. That last one was just a great play by the wide receiver. Yeah. And sometimes, a great catch or a great throw beats good coverage. We talked about that earlier. I've talked about that in some of my Broncos videos too, because Broncos play a lot of man coverage as well. And even though they have, I think, three really good cover corners, sometimes you see their guys get beat. They just play man, and you're gonna get burned at some point, no matter how good your guys are, right? And I think that's just the biggest theme to take from this. But I think we are willing to live with some of those big gains for the most part because again, we can be better in the red zone with how we're playing. Now we weren't that great in the red zone against Kansas State, but I think more so that had to do with not necessarily our lack of coverage or not being on our best when it came to coverage in the red zone. I just think, man, we couldn't stop the run at all. Couldn't stop a nosebleed sometimes it felt like, man. You guys are hilarious. You can be a me guy when you're the best player on the team, not falling on your knees to the opposing right. What? What does that have to do with being a me guy? Because what I hear with that is, it's just like, man, you just weren't playing good. Like, what does that have to do? You guys confuse the heck out of me sometimes, man. Yeah, y'all crack me up. McMillan had his way with Travis last year, averaging a 20 a catch. This year, we should always bracket him. Yeah, when did Shilo become a bad? No, yeah, wait. I know. You dude, I don't know. I don't know. I think Shiloh's great, man. Like, but let's take a look at this Travis Hunter Tet McMillan matchup from last year. Give me 1 second to pull this up. You guys crack me up. Let's see, 2023. We're at like Colorado, UCLA. Maybe we were. Oh my gosh. Those Oregon. So then week 11. This should have been Colorado, Arizona. Here we go. Coverage matchups. Let's take a look and see what we have found. Well, that didn't look good. All right, yeah. Yeah, Tet McMillan had a good game. He had 9 receptions on 15 targets, 6 first downs. Oh, man. Long of 26 and a touchdown, 1 drop. All right, here we go. So against Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan had 3 catches for 15 yards and a touchdown and a first down. I don't remember the touchdown, to be honest. I was at the game. I don't even remember what side of the field it was on. But he had his most success in terms of yardage, looks like against Trevor Woods, got deep, and then Cameron Silman Craig. So, yeah, it seems like he was really getting deep in the game against those guys. 4 receptions for 72 yards between those 2 safeties. Hey, Cormani McLean gave up 1 reception for 12 yards. I don't know why. I guess Travis was kind of more penalized for giving up the touchdown. So it's odd to see him have a lower grade than Cormani, but that's PFF for you. So, yeah, interesting. And again, I'm sure the staff is looking at kind of the defensive plan with how they these other schools have kind of held Tet McMillan, because they've held him to no touchdowns since the first week. So maybe they are bracketing. Oh, he was right there. Where'd he go? Receiving. Oh, okay. Here we go. 2024. So yeah, 739 yards on the year. 304 of those came week 1, not against Northern Arizona, my bad, against New Mexico. He went off against New Mexico. 10 receptions on 15 targets, 4 touchdowns. I did watch part of the game. It was just insane, man. No Fafita just dropping back, just throwing deep. It was insane. Average yards per reception, 30.4. Insanity. 6'5", 212. He's a beast. But it's almost kind of like Travis Hunter in a sense. Teams since then, they've been able to contain him, not totally stop him, but they've been able to, keep him from putting up like career numbers against them, right? So after that, no touchdowns on the year, 400 yards over, five games. So probably averaging somewhere around, I don't know, like 80 yards a game, something like that. Very interesting. So yeah, you got to take a look and see what they're doing to stop him. And that reception percentage is still probably lower than what you'd want to see. 54, 53, 50, 1 week, but I don't think he played much against Northern Arizona. And yeah, mainly they've just had him out wide. 15% of his snaps in the slot. Oh yeah, you can kind of see that here. So one big difference, this is kind of interesting, is you can see they had him in the slot 31% of the time and then out wide 69%. But then after that, it's almost been as if they've kept him almost exclusively outside, with every now and then giving him some snaps in the slot. So they must have seen something with New Mexico that they could have really taken advantage of, which they did. I imagine Tet McMillan might see maybe all three of our starting corners at different points during the game if they're going to put him in slot a little bit. Of course, they seemed like he got more snaps this time compared to all the other weeks, an uptick 17.5 against BYU. That's pretty interesting. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Biggest takeaway here, Brady B, you're totally right. I agree with PFF. Cormani McLean elite. Yes. And ABM King Lee, you are totally right about this. He only had 3 catches for 15 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, most of his damage came against other defensive backs that he was seeing. He crashed out. That's why we need the Shilo rebound game this game, guys. Omari Miller must be the greatest practice player at CU because he always balls out when it counts. Well, I guess that's why I wasn't playing. He wasn't the greatest practice player, but you can't deny his greatness. Prayers on his recovery, man. It just sucks. Oh, that's right. There was a one-handed catch that Tet McMillan had over Travis Hunter for the touchdown. Yeah, the fade at the goal line. Yeah, sometimes, again, a great play just beats good coverage, or an excellent play beats great coverage. Yeah. Oh, man. So it seemed like, hey, Travis was ready to go. So, yeah, if he has another strong game against Tet McMillan this weekend and we get the victory, no doubt do I feel like he's going to be the betting odds favorite for the Heisman. That's how I feel about it. And then we'll only be one game away from being bowl eligible, still be in the Big 12 title race. Things are kind of out of our complete control right now, but we can still control a lot of it by taking care of business against Arizona. Gennaro said Hayden is an excellent back to block and catching the ball in open space. Yes, our most productive back in receiving, and I still would agree with you. Take away Charlie, but out of the other 3 guys, I think he's our most dependable in pass blocking as well. So I don't think he's back. I don't think he's bad. I saw. I want Cormani back in CU. He is a dog plus needs CP guidance. I don't really want the distraction. To be honest, man. And it just rubbed me the wrong way, man. How he went out. I defended a lot of Cormani, man. I was like, guys, just be patient. Stop shitting on him. He's gonna get his stuff together. But I don't know, man. Just some things that he said on the way out about the program. It's like he didn't have to do that. It just shows immaturity. And I think that we can wish him well for him to get his career back up. And because I don't want to see him waste all of his potential and talent. You never want to see a guy waste it. But I don't think here was the right fit for him. Like, I really don't. I think it was a mutual type of thing. Kind of how I see it, the vibe that I get. It was kind of mutual, and I think we're kind of better off without a reunion, and I think he is as well. Yeah, yeah. When he says he's not a real program, he'll never be back, right? Yeah, and I mean he couldn't even he couldn't even get the name of the school right. He said, "I'm leaving the University of Boulder." Like, that's kind of offensive, man. Can't even get the name right of the school that you played at, that you were there for, a whole season. Can't even remember the name of the school, right? University of Boulder? What? Nobody calls it University of Boulder. No one says I go to Boulder. Go to CU, University of Colorado. Yeah, the sun was in Travis's eyes. You're bringing this all back to me, for sure. So, man, this should be a really fun matchup. I think Arizona, they kind of play a similar brand of football to us. I think they pass the ball around quite a bit, and I think that this is a game that we should go into Tempe and win. Oh no, They're attacking me on X. Of course they are. I knew that some people would probably just get real offended with it and go crazy. But man, I knew the smoke that I asked for when I put it out there. Well, people, they can speak, they can have their opinions. It is what it is. I'm just putting my opinion out there. If I need one guy to come make a tackle out of those two, give me Charlie Offerdahl, man. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys enjoy your evening. I'm going to be back tomorrow with quarterback spotlight. Stephen Hamner, he is a quarterbacks coach as well as a coach that works with Major League Baseball players. We'll be on tomorrow morning, I think at 8 Mountain Time, 8 a.m., just talking about Shedeur Sanders, what he's seen so far, maybe talk a little bit else, a little bit as well about some other college quarterbacks. So y'all be sure to tune into that. I'll have the Buff Blitz on tomorrow as well. Tomorrow evening, we're going to start that actually at 6 Mountain Time tomorrow. Russ needed to reschedule some things. So y'all click that bell notification. I will see you guys tomorrow evening. Have a wonderful time. Sco Buffs.